they were Jewish, but I was a Negro. So where was that country? Where's that country at?
And nobody
Nowhere
would tell
near
me.
me. Nobody could tell me. Okay.
So the Traces Project is an exploration, in some ways, of the themes of Community MusicWorks being in residence and rooted in the community of the West End and Providence. One of the important missions of this organization is that we circulate, that we show up where music and string players might not be available or present, and we kind of make opportunities happen with young people where they are. So circulation is really important, and at a certain point, working with some architects on all these questions, they proposed to us that, in fact, what we needed was a stronger heart to our circulatory system, and that made a lot of sense. So when we bought the land at 1326 Westminster in 2017, the idea was to build a new building there that would be that center for us. But immediately, we started asking ourselves the questions of what is it to contribute to gentrification when you put an arts organization into a city context anywhere? We know there's a risk of fueling increased property values and the ripple effects of that, rising rents, displacement of folks who have called a community home. And at another level, raising questions of on whose land are we building? Who has called this place home? And talking with a wonderful advisor, a friend of mine, they said, well, put energy into the questions. Don't hide from the questions. Highlight the questions. Make that a body of work. And so it became clear that the way we should make work around these questions was to commission a piece of music.
Leading up to the King Philip's War, only 10% of Rhode Island's population was European. So 90% of the people running around in the state of Rhode Island were Indians, from the top all the way to the bottom. And that is like a real shock when you look at what's going on today, because it's like, but then when you think about it, a lot of those people still here were just classified as something other. As a Negro, as an African American, a lot of us have mixed with Cape Verdean blood, so Cape Verdean, anything other than being Indian.
The seed got planted in 2016 for a collaboration between myself and Community MusicWorks to write a piece of music for the whole organization, faculty and students, that was reflective of the history of the neighborhoods that CMW has been building community with over these last 20 plus years. And then the specifics of the project sort of evolved over a couple of years to become Traces. And in collaboration with Micah Salkind and Joanne Ayuso as the sort of oral historian leaders of the project, as well as other partners like the Rhode Island Historical Society, it kind of took the form of an oral history project that we also engaged some of the Phase 2 teens from CMW to be a part of interviewing family members for.
What is your family's migration story to the U.S.?
So, Daddy Pop-Ups came to the United States from Ghana,
70 something. And then my moms came to the United States. They both came to Worcester. And then I was born in Worcester in 1975. And then they came to Rhode Island maybe 1979, 1980. And we've lived in Rhode Island in the west end of Providence since.
I was trying to build this like tiny little network of people through my interview process and through inviting them to be guests as part of the premiere, feeling like I don't think I can create a piece that would like do enough acknowledgement just by the piece of music. Like I felt like it needed to be like the performance needs to be in community with other people who have their perspectives and their voices and their artistry.
The street was called America, but it looked like the Great Depression, like a ghost town staring its own reflection in the mirror. Each building wore the same outfit of boarded up doors with looted interior of dusty, dark rubble. Shattered glass made every window frame a broken tooth smile. The building my parents bought looked hungover.
One framing of the project that has been sitting with me came from April Brown, who ended up being the host of the event, and her mother was one of the interviewees. When April said that many generations of her family had grown up in this neighborhood and there were anchor institutions where young people felt they belonged, and one of them being John Hope Settlement House. She talked about John's, the lunch spot on the corner, that the reason she feels so invested in this project is she sees this as becoming a place for arts and culture for young people to just feel that they belong. This is an anchor institution for young people growing up in the neighborhood. And I think that framing was really important and kind of in some ways grows out of the narratives we heard. It's like for all the complexity in the history of the place, what's the most consistent gesture of welcome we could be making? And I think in some ways it's to say to young people, this can be your home, and you can show up here many days a week, and we're going to make music together. You can come here and lead in this space. I think somehow that it informs how we're thinking about gathering space. You know, that there needs to be a cafe eating space that's just prominent. When you walk in at 3:00 in the afternoon, you come, you have a snack. Families can hang out there. There are other informal spaces like this throughout the building that we're now conceiving of as actually maybe the most important, more so than the practice rooms or the performance space, is just actually the unprogrammed space where people might just come to spend time or meet a neighbor or hang out a little bit.
I had incredible experience meeting and interviewing Kia Yang from the Hmong church around the corner. She sang this incredible song for me that was very, very personal to her and very emotional for her. It was this song that had this recurring da, 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 like this recurring kind of tag at the end of a phrase that was like just like gave me chills the first time I heard her sing it. And the song itself being about this grief of like a new bride being married away to another family and being unhappy and being separated from her own family. And that just like, touched on this like feeling, of belonging, of home, of separation, of loss, and of like women's experiences for millennia. It was just like so much wrapped up in this one song that I found really, really moving. And so the main melody of that last part, the sung part of this piece, was inspired by Kia's song.
The last refrain in the piece is searching for a home somewhere we belong. How do we repair? And I think these are questions that can live with us as performers and as audience members, to recognize that profound question of what does it mean to search for a home, and how, it's not an obvious question. How do we repair the troubled histories? And what does it even mean to engage in the ambition of repair? Given that can risk some of the same damage. I know how to repair. This is the solution, right? That wouldn't be the answer, but rather to say, what's an ongoing commitment to the idea of repair.
When I think about how this theme of home kept resurfacing, the first thing that comes to mind is just this recurring idea of like a place where people know you, like where you're known.